So instead of our normal weekly vlogs where I obviously take you through a week of my life, or in this room at least, I'm going to actually let my pen names or my alters talk about each one of their each one of their projects, so you can kind of get an idea on them, like who they are and what inspires them with their stories, if that makes sense. This might end up being a three parts to this, like three parts, like one video, three different videos because of each pen name. So we'll find out. But yeah, so let's get into this. Hi, I am one of the entities in this body that go by the name Maris Kitz. I'm not going to actually give you my name because this body does not need to know my actual name. Because they're trying to make us all fuse together. But I would say I'm the main. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm just one of the writers in the Maris system. So so there's the chaotic kits system, but also inside of that system there is the Maris system, which we don't get as much time writing as we would like to, but also we understand that we're trying to get the Shelly's program, like we're trying to get Shelly's books out there. We're trying, and like we just understand life is chaotic. Hence again the chaotic kids. But we are trying to get back to writing in our world, just because it's been a while and we miss it. It's always our person who does our dreams kind of thing, or like daydreaming time. Like we end up daydreaming about the Maris world a lot, or the Milo J world, which is just one of the worlds in the Maris universe, or technically it's the Macecorn universe. But let's just say this world is massive, and like kind of how there's like multiple different altars in our system that go under the name Maris. We all write in this one universe. This is our one galaxy, and it's kind of like how we would envision like the Marvel universe. Like many different Earths or many different planets, each having their own like people living there and stuff. Sorry, I'm just gonna mess with this because this is grounding me. Um, but it's just very much like a big universe where we're following all these different fantasy creatures. We so far only have 5 planets, but I honestly think it's like planets that have planets within planets. So like, I don't know. Like, so maybe Macecorn is the Milky Way of our universe, and then each planet is like its own solar system. I don't know. We need to do some more thinking about it. But what was I saying? I don't know. We are basically high fantasy adventure stories. We got our inspiration to the stories from Marvel, because Marvel was a huge thing in our childhood. Our dad loved Marvel. He had comic books that were literally as old, like older than I am. He had like the first graphic novels. Well, not the first, but he had like a good stash of like old books. Don't ever know what happened to them. I think he still has them, but I don't like. Mom and Dad went through Mom went through a giant cleaning phase before she died, and let's just say a lot of stuff got pitched. But I think Dad saved the books. I could be wrong though. Anyways, these books, like my dad was obsessed with sci-fi and fantasy, and it just kind of fell into us. Like we loved sci-fi and fantasy as well. So yeah, it only made sense to create our own world. We actually kind of started this world with a friend of ours. I don't think we've ever talked about her on this channel. But she kind of helped name a few of the places. But like we didn't realize the scope of the world until just recently, because like I said, there's multiple of us multiple of us alters writing in the pen name Maris, and I don't really know how to describe it. It is a long, complicated series where things are long and complicated. So we'll just start with Miloche. Miloche is the first system we're following right now. It's mostly a fairy world, but it's got like fairies, nymphs, pixies, elves, and some other like lighter creatures that have wings. Except the elves don't have wings, but it's kind of like that. Like we call it the planet of the light, and so we're just kind of uncovering what we're learning about the story. We know some basic stuff, and like so, I think what we're doing is following. I don't know who we're following exactly, but let's just say we're following Ain, who's one of the characters in the Miloche series that we will be following. We'll follow her for one book. I don't know if we're going to follow her over the scope, but we're following her for one of them. And it's just her story pretty much. But she will then possibly, I don't think it'll be her, but like I said, there'll be someone in that book series that we follow into the next series, which will be, I don't think we've ever decided what the series will be after the Miloche series, like what plan will be next. It just depends on like how the words are coming. And like we don't really plan out what's happening. We are pantsers. I think everyone in our system, even in like Shelly and Grace's world, like they're pantsers. Like you can't really plot out what's gonna happen because it's never gonna happen. And also like with us, whenever we're writing, like you can start off as one person, but you're gonna end with someone else, and you just have to hope they understand the story. Like, does that make sense? Like, so Grace can start off writing, but it could very easily switch into like me or one of the Maris authors. But we just have to keep on track on the series that we're working on, and that's why we have these specific things that we work with, like these tools that we use to make sure that we are grounded in at least who we're focused on. I hope this is making sense. I feel one of the main voices trying to come in and make me feel self-guilty. Well, self-conscious. But so let's just talk about the stuff that we have in our little tote. So let's just call her Michelle. Michelle bought us these clear plastic totes. They have been evolving over the years of what goes in these boxes. But for right now, like the basic starter, sorry, my eye itches. Basic starter, the clear tote, notebooks, pens, highlighters, and whatever kind of sticky note or other utensil we want to use. We prefer sticky notes, and we got these blue ones. We like the blue ones. We just started with them. Once this pack's gone, we'll go to another color. I don't care about the color. Maybe some other ones in the system do, but it's just a sticky note. Just for basic ideas. Well, not basic ideas, but like just rough ideas. Then we have 3 notebooks in it. We have got the one that we're currently, like, this is the one that we mostly write in, or at least we will whenever we get to the first book in the Miloche series. Right now we're working on like a short story, which like with the Miloche and like Maris universe, there's going to be short stories, there's going to be novels, there's going to be novellas, there's going to be like all these different types of writing, all within the same world. Does that make sense? But anyways, this one has like our brainstorming notes if we feel like it. Depends on who's out and like if we know what we're writing and stuff. We're not really in this one yet, but we have it set up for word count and brainstorming notes. Then this one is like our main key of like the planets and what we want the planets to look like, but this is kind of out of date, and we only are focusing on one book right now. Like we're focusing on one planet at a time. Right now, that planet is Miloche. I don't know what's gonna all happen in it. It's just gonna be what it's gonna be, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, right now we're just focusing on a short story. So we used one of these sticky notes and put it on here. And we're just keeping track of the short story and like its word counts and stuff. And currently in it, we're at 1,100 words. And that was after 2 sprints of it. I don't know how long it's going to be. We're writing based on however the words feel. We know what the main concept of this short story is. We just didn't think it was long enough to be an actual story, like an actual novel. And with those, we'll plan on, like, releasing them, like, when in doubt, when we get to the point where we have more writings out and more of a concrete presence, I guess. Well, like, just talking about Maris, like, we will eventually actually, like, do a YouTube, not a YouTube channel. Well, we could do a YouTube channel. But we are eventually going to have a website where we will get to update everybody. Well, hopefully, website for sure, possibly a newsletter, possibly a YouTube channel, and possibly, like, a Patreon where you guys can support us, like, the Maris people, as an author, and what we write. Does that make sense? Because, like, I don't think Grace is going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm speaking for everybody else here. I know Shelly wants to do it, but I'm not sure if Grace has that idea yet. But as Maris, we will do it eventually, but we need to write more books and get us a good starting before we do it. Just because we don't want to start off and not have anything to do it. Like, we don't want to take your money whenever it's just getting started. Does that make sense? Anywho, so those are those two notebooks, and then we also have this one, which is going to have our characters in it, because obviously this is going to be a long series. We're going to have characters that we're going to be meeting throughout the entire time. We need to know each character and some things about them. We have it pretty basic right now, so we're just starting with the short story. And, like, we're going to have it color-coded based on, like, each highlighter is going to be like, okay, this is this one, and then each time we're used in one story, it'll get a highlighter. Or, like, get some kind of perspective in it, we'll get it highlighted. Yeah, we decided to do this because, obviously, like I said, we're going to have a long series. And with a long series, we need to know what's going on. And Shelly's starting to realize that, too, which is kind of hilarious. But that's beside the point. So this is our character notes. It's divided up into 4 sections of like, in the notebook, it's divided into 4. But the first section is, like, these like, checklist kind of things. I don't think we'll use them, so these pages might just get torn out. I don't know. I said torn out, and people do not like that answer. But yeah, so, and, like, all of these notebooks we got from, like, I think this one we got from Dollar General, and the rest we got from Walmart. Like, we get super cheap notebooks. Well, I get super cheap notebooks, just because it's gonna be a long world. We actually have, we bought several smaller notebooks, that are, like, I don't even know how to describe them. But I don't want to get up and show you them. But they're super cheap ones that we bought. They were in a pack of 3 for $4. And that's just what it is. I don't know how else to describe it. Anywho, this is our little container that we have our pens and pencils in. So with our Universe of Maris world, we obviously are very heavily relying on color codes. Just because it's going to be a long, complicated story. And also, colors are kind of the main focus of it. Like, well, not the main focus, but, like, it easily distinguishes between each, like, who the characters are. So, like, in the Milo Chase series, there is a golden fairy whose color, like, there's golden fairies who are, their color is gold. Then there's, like, ice fairies who are, like, pale purples. Then there's water fairies who are blue, and, like, kind of, like, they're elemental fairies, and so they are dictated by colors. Does that make sense? I missed a pen. And then we also have these highlighters that we got in a pack, and honestly, if it wasn't for when we went to buy these, I think other people in our system, like, besides us as Maris, I think Grace really wanted to have these, but we took, like, when we bought them, we were like, okay, this is ours, but Grace would really like to have these, because there's a lot of great colors in it, but we needed more colors than she does. I'm just gonna say it how it is. But so we got those highlighters. They're like the Sharpie highlighters, apparently. We have some of these that in different colors, but we wanted a more multicolored pack. Then we use these Papermate Ink Joys, which are just ballpoint pens. I don't know if you can see that. And this is also like a triangle shaped one. But yeah, so that's that. We use a basic black pen because we need to get better black pens, but we have these. We bought these a long time ago, and we're just gonna have to use them. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. But like I said, so Maris World, we are very much we're a system within a system. And the Maris World is a high fantasy adventure story where we're going to follow lots of different characters in different stories. We're starting right now with the Milo Chase series, which is going to be a fairy world. The first book is, I have titles for them, but I'm not going to say them yet. First one just has to deal with like a royalty. That one we're following two fairy girls that are cousins. They have problems. This is going to, like, we're working on the short story, but the actual novel is going to be in kind of a recreation of the short story, if that makes sense. Like, the short story is just like a legend, pretty much. And then the first book is going to be a modern twist on the legend, if that makes sense. And then we are planning on having it be a series, like, but I think it's going to be an interconnected series where we're going to be following this character. Like, we're following these two cousins right now. Well, when we get to it, we'll be following these two cousins, and then we'll be following someone else in the next book. Does that make sense? I don't know, that is just kind of how we have it set up right now. We do have an idea on, like, but that was a long time ago when we decided to possibly follow the other ice fairies. But who knows? I don't know. Like I said, we're pantsers. We kind of just let things happen as they happen. Yeah, so if you have any questions about our world, just leave it in the comments down below. Like I said, it's very much a high fantasy adventure story based on the Marvel universe, but with high fantasy creatures like elves, dragons, unicorns, pixies, nymphs. I could keep going. Like goblins, dragons, like just anything you would find in a D&D campaign, honestly. Which, us saying that, we might end up doing like within the Maris World, there's someone who wants to do a like D&D inspired story where like it literally will be whoever's writing it will be like telling the story of a game, like in this perspective of the D&D guy who is playing the story. Does that make sense? Like, is in charge, like, I don't know how to describe it. Sorry, I also switch between someone. But, like, it'll be a D&D campaign where we are following each character as the story progresses, if that makes sense. Well, like, I don't know. I don't have all the details out. Let's just sum this up. Maris' world, we are very high fantasy creatures. All of our stuff pretty much was bought either at Dollar General or Walmart. That's available to us. I know some of us would, well, Shelly is someone who bought a notebook on Amazon. We're not doing that, I don't think. Could be wrong. I don't know. Right now, that's all I gotta say. If you have anything you want to ask us, leave us in the comments down below. So I think this is going to be the end of this video. We'll do another one another time where it's Grace or Shelly, and then we'll do another one that later. But yeah, so this is Get to Know Maris. So, see ya.